it was pelvic floor Pilates. So we're going to be doing things to the unmentionables. So we can't see it. So I didn't think there was any point in doing anything special other than sitting at my desk and arranging a nice background on Zoom. So that's what we're going to do. So if you've not got video, it's fine. You can use your imagination. So Liz actually can sit. We can all sit. We can lie. We can do anything we like. You can even have a cup of tea. It's a bit more relaxed is this one. I've got a big chunky marker. And then, because it's pelvic floor, I need you to start imagining something. So that's your first thing I want you to do. Use your imagination to think of the location of these unmentionables. So your pelvic floor is between your coccyx and your pubic bone, and also you've got those two bony bits on your bottom, your ischial tuberosities. You've got your pubic bone at the front and the coccyx at the back. So when I did a course a million years ago, it was called Diamond Pilates, and there is a way of getting this diamond, of which is a bit difficult and probably impractical to do here. But what we have to do, we have to sit on a piece of paper. Can you see that? Oh no, you can't see that. That's brilliant. Me and my great fancy screens. Let's just get rid of that screen. And you can see, there you go. Oh, there you go. You can see my cluttered room. Okay, so that is what we had. Now, obviously, if this was my pelvis, it'd be a little bit wonky. But what I want you to think about is this here is your pubic bone. The bottom bit is your coccyx.
Yeah.
And then you've got, I'm going to call it IT, ischial tuberosity, because it'll take me forever to write out. So, oh, there you go. Can you see that should be the right way around as well? That's marvellous. So as we're sitting now, to the front of your body is your pubic bone, to the back is your coccyx, and then your ischial tuberosities either side, or your sitting bones. So when you wiggle on someone's knee, they're the ones they can feel. Now, what I want you to think about first off, I love doing this because it gives me lots of colours. So what I want you to do is think about the contraction of your muscles from your coccyx all the way up to your pubic bone. So we're going to start just above your back passage and then up to your pubic bone. Now, sometimes I describe this as like a Mexican wave. It's not really a Mexican wave, it's more like a wave coming in. So start off if you can with a contraction at the back. Now, why do we start there? Mainly because we are too vulgar, and I know it's only early doors in the morning. Our back passage is the one that we're used to closing when we need to. So I won't elaborate. You can imagine, especially if it's morning and you've had your constitution. So we can close that one. We know we can close that sphincter. So they've got little muscles round and they're called sphincters, and we can close that sphincter. So what I want you to do is use that muscle and then think about taking that muscle contraction to the front where your pubic bone is. So you, again, internally you might feel something, you may not. So going from back to front. So if I'm back and we're going front, and then just release. And again, go back to front and then release, and do that. And I just want to talk about release. What I mean by release is just let the muscle go. So it's like it's not a forced let go, it's a release. So going from your coccyx to your pubic bone, back to front. And that's just, if you imagine on a timeline, that's almost like a one and then release, a one and then release. So you're going from coccyx to pubic bone as a one and release, one and release. So have a few more goes at that, and then take a break and just breathe normally. Okay, so we can do back passage to pubic bone. Now the next one is in green. Hope you can see this in colour, and we're not on the cheat mode of black and white. We've got your ischial tuberosities, your sitting bones, and then they're coming together in the middle. Now it sort of works like that, but just for simplicity we're going to say it does work like that. So this time I want you to think of the two sitting bones squeezing together to your middle. Now this middle is just really the center of your pelvic floor. It's not necessarily relating to an opening, because as ladies we definitely have one bigger opening, so it's not referring to anything there. It's just a general area of your pelvic floor. So what you can do, or try to do, is imagine these two bony bits drawing together. Now I know physiologically they don't move, okay? If they did, we'll be in a performing circus somewhere, I think. But I want you to think about these two moving together. Now, the big thing about the visualization is, even if you can't feel it, but you can imagine those 2 points, either from a piece of paper or in your head, coming together. Strangely enough, your head doesn't know whether it's true or not. How random is that? So it thinks that you're actually doing that, even though you're imagining it. It can't tell the difference. It can't tell the difference of what you're imagining in the future and what's really happening, what you imagined in the past, thinking about it now. It can't tell the difference. It thinks it's real. So we can use that to our advantage just by imagining these bone movements. So we've got two. We've got the coccyx to the pubic bone, and there it's coming up like that from back to front, and then your other two are coming in this way, so it's almost like a pincer movement. Beep. And that's what I want to have a go at now. So either imagine it or physically do it. So obviously I can't see. Eyebrows often give it away, so maybe if you're not on video you've got very descriptive eyebrows, I don't know, but have a go and squeeze together. So we've got two separate movements. We've got back to front and then two side to side. I just want to have a go at that. You may hear Bracken barking in the background. She does this, an old lady thing, I think. So we've got that contraction happening. Now then, what I'd like you to do is take the contraction from your coccyx to the middle and your pubic bone to the middle. So we've got a third line now. So instead of going the natural way, or the way that we probably used to doing things, I want you to go from coccyx to the middle and then pubic bone to the middle, and again meet in the center area. So again, it's really the center of your pelvic floor, nothing anatomical as such, and I want you to try and meet there. So I want you to try and meet in the middle. Again, use your imagination if it's not gelling with you, as in physically moving. And I'm just going to do something else. This will either work or it won't. It'll be fab. I'll be fab or rubbish. But either or. Nothing you can't fix without sellotape and string. So there you go. Right. So now what I want you to think about is, ignore that coming out, it looks a bit wrong, doesn't it? We've got those 2 points from pubic bone to center, coccyx to center, and your two sitting bones. Now I'm going to lay this flat, so you can see that it's the diagram laid flat, and I've just placed my microphone, my speaker through the middle. And what I want you to imagine, if you can pull those four together, what it will do is draw it upwards. So if I put my hand flat, you can see that it's drawing it upwards. Now the other image I have for this, and I probably prefer it to my little visual aid there, is a jellyfish. I always want to say octopus, and that'd be rubbish. A jellyfish. So as you've got the 4 points meeting in the center, I want you to feel that it's lifting up and then releasing. Lifting up and then releasing. You could get a piece of cloth or a small hanky, and then it would lift. Hello, Steve. So you get a cloth and it'd be lifting and then lowering. Lifting and then lowering, and that's what I want you to have a think about for this next bit. Think about lifting and lowering, because as your pelvic floor is doing that, your diaphragm also is doing this. So if you, the pelvic floor is often called a diaphragm because of the shape of it, and then you've got your traditional diaphragm, your breathing diaphragm sitting under your ribs. As you lift your pelvic floor, your diaphragm lifts as well, and as you lower your pelvic floor, your diaphragm lowers as well. is like I'm going into Tai Chi mode now. So lifting up, both move together, and lowering, both move together. So we can do that with our breath. So we're still thinking of those 4 points all coming into the center and that lifting like a jellyfish. So if we can do it with breathing, all I want you to do now is breathe in, let the diaphragm lift, and breathe out and let the diaphragm lower. So you've got your pelvic floor and then your breathing diaphragm lifting and lowering. Up and then down, just gently lifting up and down. Just relax breathing, just slowly up and down. So that's something you can practice. Well, there's a few things there. You can do all the way up from your pelvic floor, coccyx to pubic bone. You can do your sitting bones into the center, or you can do that sort of pincer movement with all 4, thinking of the jellyfish. So you'll never be lost doing any of those. Nobody can see them. You could be sat down having a piece of cake, reading something. I have no idea, but you can do those anytime. Like Martini advert of yesteryear, anytime, any place, anywhere. So with that, we can then play with how long we hold the contractions. So for that demonstration, I've just been saying in and out. So there's 2 types of incontinence, so urinary incontinence. There's one called stress, which is the one we have when we laugh, cough, sneeze, or jump on a trampoline. That's many a time they have an oops moment, as the advert goes. And there's also urge incontinence, and that's when your bladder sends signals to the brain via the nerves saying, I must go to the toilet now. Gotta go now. And this is when you get people who go out and they'll say, where are the toilets? When we go shopping, oh, well, we need to go here, here, and here because they all have toilets. They're usually people with urge incontinence. And it's when they get the urge to wee, they have to, they can't hold it, unfortunately. So there's 2 different contractions. So one is like the fast muscles that clamp things close, close these sphincters. That's one type of contraction. And then the other one is to hold it. You can have endurance, and that's more like a marathon. So we've got the sprinting muscles and the marathon muscles. So the sprinting muscle, again, it's a quick hold and then release. Again, it's not a forced release. Everything is just like all the releases are a gentle release. So if you lift up and hold quickly, that's going to help with the stress incontinence, the laughing, the sneezing, the jumping, and then release. So it's a quick gather up and then release. So if you can imagine your jellyfish coming up quite quickly and holding and then slowly lower down. So your contraction, internal contraction, lifts and then lowers, because that's when you need it. So if you jump, it's a quick movement. It's a powerful pressing movement that it needs a quick tightening on. It's like having one of your water pipes burst and the water's coming out. You have to quickly get your finger on, otherwise it'll be a wet room. The other side is the urge incontinence, and that's to do with being able to hold it, and that's like the marathon, the endurance muscle. So again, it's still same. You're going to hold it, but for longer. And again, this, because it's a muscle, will take time. It's like weight training and then just release. Any type of weight training, you can't start off with 10 kilograms for bicep curls. You've got to start off slowly. So lift and hold, maybe just for a few seconds. And then it slowly releases. And again, a few seconds. And then slowly releases. Now, all those exercises you've just done, you can do them for the quick hold, or you can do them for a longer hold. All of them will be absolutely fine. Just double check that you're not feeling any discomfort from this. Obviously, internal discomfort is something we don't want, but it is just like any muscle training. The more you do, the more it works. And then you can get this DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, which when it's up your flu is really uncomfortable, I believe. I've never had it, but I believe it's really uncomfortable. So that's what I want you to practice. We want the 4 points on here. So you can start off coccyx to pubic bone. sitting bones into the center, and then coccyx and pubic bone into the center as well. Think of it as a jellyfish or a piece of cloth, and also a quick hold for stress incontinence, and then a slow hold and sustained hold for the urge incontinence. And I think that's about it.